Good evening. We're back for more streaming. All right. Oh, I should probably alert the I should alert the Discord peeps. Let's see. All right. I did figure out my issue that I was having last night, which was all happening off stream. Nobody saw me crash out. Oh, what happened? My sound, my microphone's peaking. I don't know why my microphone does that. Every so often it just freaks out. All right. Hello, Jan. How are you, man? First time I've seen you in my chat. How you doing? Excuse me. Variable declaration can be destructed. I honestly don't care about that. What alert was that? That was that? I'm gonna turn that off. IDE 0042. Oh, hello, Jan. Or hello, Logan. You're the guy that just got the job? Is that what? Yeah. You just like to move around accounts. Nice, dude. I guess keeping me honest, huh? Keeping me honest. Yeah, I wouldn't have known it was you if you hadn't told me. Ah, diff account. Nice. Yeah, it's surprising how many people actually have multiple accounts. Well, I hope you're doing well, Logan. Or Jan, Logan. Oh, it's the best for operational security? What are you doing? Are you like a hacker? Jesus, man. Some people, I guess, take their operational security more serious than others. All right. Well, Where am I? Where am I in all this? Oh, you do bug bounties? That's very cool. Have you made any money doing that? Okay, I think this is the next case I need to test. So if my let me see. Let's see, Discord, Gateway, API. Oh, nice, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, those bug bounty programs seem pretty intense. No wonder you got a job. I mean, you obviously have some very serious engineering talent to do bug bounty programs. Okay. If an app doesn't receive a heartbeat acknowledge, it should close the connection and reconnect. Okay, yeah, so this is what I need to do. So in this case, let's see. What's up, Ariel? How are you? You doing well? Why are we passing cancellation none here? We should be passing... Yeah, we should be passing this in. Right? I think so. Yeah, I think we should be. But we shouldn't be closing with a normal closure. We should be closing with something other than 100 or 101. So let's say protocol error, maybe? Yeah, I'm thinking about how I want to test this. So this actually needs to be, oops. Let's see. To do, we should actually disconnect and attempt to resume. But let's just write a test to see if we can actually make this happen first. So we'll say Discord gateway client tests. I'm going to jump down here. Excuse me. All right, so we need to do a very similar test here. So I'm just going to copy this. These tests are very messy. But it's kind of a complicated thing. You're managing a lot of states, so I'm not sure there's really a better way to go about doing it. Okay, when called, and heartbeat is not acknowledged. It should disconnect and resume. Or I guess I should disconnect and attempt to resume. Oh, sorry, that's my Discord. Let me mute that. Also, if you're new here and you don't know, we do have a Discord that you're welcome to join. And also, let's see, I'm building a Discord bot, but I'm not using any existing client SDK. So I'm still trying to implement the logic for managing the WebSocket connection to Discord's gateway API. And then I'm going to pin this so people know what the heck I'm doing. There we go. Takina, this is a test. Have you ever written test code before, Takina? So most people who write tests, I know not a lot of developers or programmers out there write tests these days, but most of the time, most people follow some sort of naming convention for their test methods. So the naming convention I follow is method name, condition, and then an assertion. And sometimes that makes my method names long in my test classes. But I don't really care about that because it's a test. It's supposed to be explicit and not necessarily the driest code. And it makes it much more easy to see what tests are passing and what tests are failing and what condition specifically failed. Versus if you named your test classes like this, test 1, it's like, yeah, that's a lovely short method name, but that tells you absolutely nothing about what the test does. So that's why the method name's long. Jan, hey Steven, what's your opinion in vibe coding? I've recently met someone who vibe codes a lot. I wanted your opinion. I think I kind of balanced both ideas in my head at the same time. So I think on one hand, vibe coding could be very useful for like doing prototyping, for exploring a new problem space, for getting something stood up very quickly. However, I don't think vibe coding is an excuse not to learn how to write code or understand the code you write. Right? So I don't think it's an excuse to replace all developers and all coders with just a bunch of people who prompt LLMs all day to get code out. Especially given the constraints of current LLMs, like eventually your code is going to become too complex for the limited context windows of these LLMs. And maybe they eventually solve that problem, but I think at the moment that's not a solved problem. So I think Jan or Logan, I don't know what you want, what name you want me to call you. I think vibe coding is kind of a tool, and I think AI coding tools are tools, and it's all in how you use them, in my opinion. Okay. So what should happen here, what's going to happen in this test is basically, if we go back to this diagram, whoops, where's the diagram? The condition I'm trying to test here is I establish connection with the gateway, I receive the hello event, I begin my heartbeat interval, and then at some point, well, let's say I begin my heartbeat interval, but I never receive an acknowledgement from Discord. So if I never receive the acknowledgement from Discord, I want my client to disconnect, and then I want it to resume. Yeah, that's what I want to happen. So let's actually make my heartbeat interval a little less this time. Let's wait 2.5 cycles of the interval. So we should call send async once. The WebSocket state's still going to be open. Right? So basically we're getting into this piece of code here where the last heartbeat acknowledged is going to be less than the last heartbeat sent. The WebSocket should be open, in which case if the WebSocket's open, we should expect that close async has been called. Yeah. Okay. So let's say we have sent one heartbeat, and now we need to make sure that this has been sent. But I do want to make sure that the status code, let's see, this should not equal WebSocket normal. Oops, yeah, should not equal that. Or oh, I guess I can I do is here? Yeah. I can say is not. Oh, I guess I can't do that there. Say and is not. What's empty? Nope. That one. Just want to make sure it's neither of those things. That line is a little long, so I'm going to put that on its own line. Okay. Alright, so let's run the test and see what happens. So we should send one heartbeat. then we should loop again, and on the second loop, we should close the connection. So let's see what happens. Jan understood. By the way, you can call me Logan. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll call you Logan then. I mean, when you got multiple accounts, you know, keeping me on my toes. Okay, it passed. Cool. I'm curious. There's another condition here I want to test, which is if we're already here, whoops. Let's see, if we're already here and this is not open, so if we hit this line and this is false, I just want to make sure that we break. I actually probably don't need to capture a reference to heartbeat task. That's probably not actually necessary, but we won't worry about that at the moment. Let's see, is there a way that I can tell how many times? Let's see. Mock C# when. See, events. Nope, I don't care about events. Let's see. I know there's some way in mock where you can say something like oh, I guess this would just be some sort of how do you use this? When see it takes a func of bool. So it'd be something like this, return true. Let's see, can I use that? I don't know if I can use that. See, I think I need to do something like setup sequence, but I'm not sure how many times WebSocket is called. So let's say var number of state calls equals mock WebSocket. Just want to see how many times this actually gets called. All right. Well, debugging in a tiny window is not a very good experience here. Let's see, so state, receive, state, receive, state, send. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times? Maybe that's not how you check the count. What's monitor? What's monitor do? Nope, I don't want to monitor an event source. Let's just say this should have been called once, times once. We know that's going to fail. But hopefully that'll give me the number of times. It's called 8 times. This seems stupid, but like, I'm just talking out loud here, so forgive me if this sounds dumb, but in order to make sure that this evaluates the false, I have to make sure that the whatever number of times that we've accessed this state property, we want this state property to be open on our mock until we reach this line. When we reach this line, we want it to be closed. So theoretically, the last time we hit this, right? We shouldn't, once we, yeah. So let's try that. So let's go back to our test method here. And again, we're just gonna, let's see, we're going to copy this again. I know it's not very dry code, but it's test code. I can always dry it up later. Fact, public, async task, connect async. Let's see, when called, and heartbeat not acknowledged. And already closed. It should not I'm not really sure what it should do in this case now that I think about this. So if we get to this point, I actually don't know. What happens if you close a WebSocket? What happens if you try to close a WebSocket that's already closed? Client WebSocket closing multiple times. I'm guessing it throws an exception. Let's see if Claude knows. Maybe Claude will be able to answer me. Hello, Empire. How are you? Is everything well in your neck of the woods? Okay, so let's see. I'm using the client WebSocket class in .NET. If the connection was opened, then closed, and I attempt to close it again, will it throw an exception? I'm guessing it will. Yeah, so I think if I reach this point in the code, like I've closed the connection, or Discord has closed the connection for some reason. I guess in which case I think I should just try to resume. Or I try to reconnect. I guess in any event, we don't want to try to close the connection again, right? If it's already closed, let's see. To do. Let's see. I think what we want to do here is we want to do one of two things. If the WebSocket so if the WebSocket, let's see, WebSocket dot let's see, can I get a closure reason from this? Yeah, I don't think it's possible for me to know why it's closed. So if it is closed here, we should just try to reconnect. So if this is closed here, we should just attempt to reconnect. Yeah. Versus up here, we're gonna break, but we need to also resume. Attempt to resume. Move this to a disconnect method. Because there's gonna be other work I want to do when we disconnect than just close the socket, right? We're gonna want to close the socket. We're gonna want to clean some stuff up, and yeah. So that this will need to be moved. So I think for right now though, what I can say is if I go back to my test case, we just need to verify that we didn't attempt to close the connection. See, it should not disconnect. I think is what I'm trying to say here. I know this is not very exciting to watch because I'm basically working through writing tests to like make sure I have all the edge cases of this thing covered. And I know it's not super exciting for people to Why did this fail? Oh, this failed because I was checking how many times the state was accessed. Yeah. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna close this. we're going to say is any. And this time we're going to say never. We never want closed to be called in this case because the connection's already closed. So what we need to do here is we need to set up a sequence. What's setup set? Oh, that's deprecated. Setup sequence. So basically we need to do returns. I wonder, can I say how many times to do this? Times, I would want to say exactly 7 is what I'd like to do here. That sucks. Okay, yeah, I'd like to do something like I really don't want to have to do this, which is what I'm going to have to do. Is I'm going to have to say, let's see, how many times is that? That's, this looks so stupid. Open. It's also super brittle because if I change the logic in that client, state might get called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then on the 8th time I want to call closed. That looks really dumb. There's got to be a better way to do this. Let's see. So let's try this. Emerald, it will throw. Oh, thanks, Emerald. I appreciate you answering that question, man. Hello, Toad Sage. How are you, dude? Doing well? All things good in Japan? All right, I think that worked. Did it work? Oh, no, I didn't run the right code, the right test. Did I? I could have sworn, did I not just... Oh, I put this in the wrong spot. This is what happens when I get distracted. I start creating more work for myself. Let's see, open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the 8th time, it'll return closed. This is stupid. I should go back to this. Okay, this one should still pass. My other one should fail. What? It should disconnect and attempt to resume. Oh, yeah. This is because I changed this. This should be once. And then this should be not is it any, because we have a specific thing we're looking for here. We should say x does not equal normal closure, and yeah, it does not equal that. Okay, now rerun this test. Bjorn, what is good code writing for tests? So I think tests should be very explicit. I don't think test code needs to be very dry. I think the most important thing with tests is probably brittleness, right? So, which I'm not actually doing a very good job at writing non-brittle tests at the moment. But I think at the you know, you want tests that you can rely on to test the public-facing functionality of the code you're writing, and not require you to constantly refactor your tests every time you want to refactor your code, assuming the parts of the code that you're refactoring don't deal with public functionality. But that's hard too. Like I think part of being able to write good tests is also writing your code in such a way that you can write good tests for it, right? So like thinking about what is the public facing or the public interface of a method or a class or a set of functions, right? And what should be internal implementation detail that the outside world doesn't know about and that tests shouldn't care about. You also have to write your code in such a way that like you can not have dependencies within method calls or within function calls or even within classes that make it difficult for you to control the behavior of the class if you're trying to write unit tests. So I think writing good tests should be about reducing brittleness, but I think being able to write non-brittle tests largely comes down to how the code that you're testing was originally authored in a lot of times, right? So, but those are the things I think about. I think the things I think about a lot when I'm thinking about how am I gonna, and I think it helps if you're writing code thinking about how you're gonna test it. You tend to force yourself into writing code that's more testable. Excuse me. Like, this is probably not a good test. This is very brittle, right? I'm relying on this internal implementation in the client that, like, I'm gonna check state in this order this many times. The problem is that if I refactor the code in that client and I check state in a different order, right, then this test is going to start failing. Let's see if it passes to begin with. It may not pass. I may already be off. No, yeah. But if I went to my client method, if I go into my client, right, you can see like the number of times I access this property is based upon the state, right, in all these different methods. So if for some reason I decide to like not check the state here, yeah, I could run into some issues. So the question is, but there's no other way I can test this. There's no other way to test it without doing that. Unless I expose something publicly from my class. I'm going to leave it for now. I might take it out. I might take it out, but I'm gonna leave it for now. I am curious. Let's see what my test coverage looks like at the moment. Let's see, Alt Shift minus. Toad says, "Man, I'm in love with Hyperland." What is Hyperland? I don't think I'm familiar with that. Is that like a Linux thing? Hyperland is an independent tiling compositor. Oh, nice. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar, but that's probably because I don't run Linux. Oh, that is really pretty. You guys in the Linux world have all the cool looking desktops. I'm just a Windows guy, you know. Bitonic dev, try Golang. Actually, we have tried writing some Golang. We haven't gone back to it in a couple weeks, but I did go through all of the tutorials. There's a, let's see, learn tutorial tutorial Golang. Where was it? It was like a learn by example. This one right here. Was this it? No, this wasn't it. Learn by example. There we go. Go web examples. This was the website. I went through and did all these tutorials. I don't know. Maybe I think maybe I haven't done the password hashing one, but I did all the others. And so I kind of have dabbled in Golang, but I haven't committed. And also, I'll tell you up front, the one thing that feels very awkward about writing Golang is the noisiness that the way they handle air, the way they deal with air handling. I know a lot of people like it, and I'm not necessarily knocking it. Like, I think it makes sense to treat errors as first-class things, and having like a results pattern in the language is cool, but it does add a lot of noise to your code. Like, every operation having to check if error not nil or if error nil. It just, to me, you end up with a lot of noise in the code, and I'm guessing there's patterns to deal with that. I'm sure there's Golang developers out there who can educate me on that, but that was my first my first thought there. Toad says, "Nah, man, my setup is pretty sucky." Nah, man, those guys, the setups on that repo look pretty sweet, so I totally get the appeal. Let's see, .NET test. Nice. Okay, let's the other thing I'm gonna do real quick. Hold on, let me go back to my test real quick. Let me cut down this interval. I don't need to wait for 100. Okay, let's retry this. Okay, and then let's open up my coverage report. Let's see. MPX, live server, Steve's bot, test results, coverage report. See what this looks like. All right, let's look at the client here. We should definitely test these. Let's see, receive messages async. While cancellation token is false. Yeah, I haven't gotten around to doing that. Let's see. If E is null. Yeah, I mean, some of these I don't know if I'm going to worry about, like trying to engineer the WebSocket being null. I'm not sure I'm going to. All right, let's add some tests for these constructors. This is kind of low-hanging fruit. Let's. Also, I can delete this. Let's see. Fact. Public async task. Constructor. No, it's not async task. Void constructor. When called. And options is null. It should throw. Var acts. Joshua Miller. What would be a good way to make an app roam better from Wi-Fi to LTE 5G? A WebSocket over each link? Oh, I don't honestly know, Joshua. That one's, I think, above my current skill set. I guess what you're trying to deal with in that case is you're trying to deal with, like, when the connection is lost. Right? I would think you just want to handle that disconnection. Like that brief moment in time where you're making the switch. But yeah, I don't know. I've never done much with testing like a loss of connection. I would assume over a WebSocket connection. Yeah, I'm honestly, I have no idea what the behavior would be. So that one, I'm sorry, Joshua. I'm not sure I can be much help there. Thank you, Copilot. Thank you, Copilot again. And one more time, Copilot. Yeah, there we go. We're tabbing our way to glory right there. That's wonderful. Those are the kind of tasks where I think I'm so happy Copilot exists today. Where'd my test coverage go? Did I close that? I guess I closed that. Excuse me. Here we go. All right, there we go. Now we got coverage there. Okay, so I think I'm wondering if this is another place where, you know, if we start to if the WebSocket state is not open, I think this is another example of where if the WebSocket state is not open, we should be trying to reconnect. Oh, there's a lot of state management in this thing. Joshua Miller, yeah, I have a network background. I've set up VPN tunnels that do that, but it'd be nice for apps to natively support it. Yeah, I've never thought about it. I would think in most cases you would just have some sort of like, you know, the connection's closed and then you would handle that event. I'm not sure what that would look like in code, but that would be my assumption. Okay, let's just I'm getting a little overwhelmed at the moment. I'm getting overwhelmed and I'm thinking too deeply, I think, about I'm trying to handle all the edge cases at once in my mind, and that's just overwhelming me. So let's try to focus on a disconnect method. How about that? So let's focus on moving this stuff into await, disconnect, async, and this should be protocol error. Or here's the other idea. Here's my other idea. Should I just have like one method called reconnect? And that method handles the complexity. Yeah, I'm wondering if that would be the better approach. This is this is the this is the part where I start. This is always the part in a project where I start overthinking things way too much. I just need to break the problem down. Joshua, what about diagramming a finite state machine to model all the possible states? Yeah, that's a good idea actually. That's a really good idea. Yeah, that's a super good idea, Joshua. And now I'm just thinking about let me go back to their diagram. Where's their diagram at, right? So how would I think about turning this into kind of a state? Because I basically have two different ways that I can reconnect. I can connect all over again, or um, or I can resume. And they have different flows. So resume. Let's see. If an app can resume / reconnect, it should open a new connection using the resume gateway URL with the same version and encoding. Then send a resume opcode event. Then repeat the whole gateway cycle. Yeah, I think this is where my brain was several days ago when I started all this is, you know, I gotta draw or something. Let's just assume... Let's just assume my client is connected. Client is connected, right? Okay. And then let's say we encounter a disconnect. But disconnect can happen from Discord's end, or it can happen from my end. Yeah, it can happen from... Discord can send me a message that says, hey, you need to disconnect, or hey, you're disconnected. Or I could disconnect because I'm not receiving heartbeat intervals anymore. Or pings. I'm basically not receiving pings back. To acknowledgement of my pings. In which case I need to initiate a disconnection. When I'm disconnected, I have a decision. The decision is status code. Let's see, status code 1001 or 1000. I think those are the two that... I'm pretty sure those are the two that we can resume with. See, there are a handful of scenarios when your app should attempt to resume. So it receives a reconnect opcode. It's disconnected, then a close code that indicates it can reconnect. It's disconnected but doesn't receive any close code. It receives an invalid session event with D field set to true. This is an unlikely scenario, but is possible. Hold on, where was I? So basically, this is not really about status code. This is more of just like, can I resume? And if I can, let's see, if I yes, if I can do yes, then I know I'm not using like in the proper shapes here, but let's see. If yes, then I want to resume async. If I can't, if I can't, then basically what I want to do here, is I really just want to call connect again. Like I just want to call connect async. I just want to go back up here to this, because this method, this code, does all the stuff it should do, right, to establish a connection. So there's no sense in having like a separate reconnect method. That's just dumb. So I'm wondering if up here where I'm receiving my messages, Yeah, I'm wondering if up here if I should keep track on the client itself, if I should keep track of the the close status. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. What's up, Rockstar? How are you? This is not JavaScript. This is C#. But I could see how it kind of looks like. Nindad, why the hangman look? Yeah, I don't know. It's just that's the way it comes out. Rockstar, oh PowerShell, look. Yeah, this is kind of wild, Rockstar. This is NeoVim in PowerShell in Windows Terminal. I'll bet you don't see that very often. Joshua, are there different disconnect states? Yes, there are, and that's that. If we're reading their documentation, there's basically a set of disconnect states that mean we can resume, and there's a set of disconnect states that mean we can't resume. And these are basically the scenarios that we need to... Yeah, these are the scenarios where we need to deal with reconnecting. Or resuming, I should say. But when we resume, like, resuming inherently means we have to disconnect. Because the WebSocket lifetime only allows connecting once. I'm wondering if I can... I'm looking at some of my code. I'm looking at some of the code to see if I can remove some stuff. Because I think there's some stuff in here that doesn't need to be here. Like, I don't think I need this. I don't think I need to be checking if here. And then again down here. I think I can make this simpler. But that's obviously, like I said, it's gonna break some of my tests. But yeah, I need to simplify this a little bit more so I can wrap my brain around it better. Hey, what's up, Artwork Series? How are you? Jiggle Jazz #1. Late night code. You ever kiss your wife? For sure I do, man. Love that lady. John Darlin, throw it into ChatGPT, bro. I honestly, that might actually be a kind of a, once I get this sorted out, once I figure this out, it would be interesting to see if we could take all the Discord documentation that I've been reading and craft a prompt and say, hey, implement this in C# and see if Claude or ChatGPT can do it, right? Can it implement it and does it work? That might be, and then if it does it in like 30 minutes and it took me like a week and a half, well, there's the case for me to be replaced by AI. Kid, bye. No, I cannot do that. I don't think, man. Jiggle Jess. I don't have a wife. Oh, that's too bad, man. Yeah, man. Finding your partner in life is an awesome thing. Jiggle Jess. I'm an embedded Linux developer and I'm scared around women. Are you sure? Are you sure you're an embedded Linux developer? And there's no reason to be scared around women. Oh, I think this guy's trolling me a little bit. Do you get a lot of women with Discord bots? I already have my wife, man. Once you find the one, you don't need more. John Darlin. Honestly, I'm just curious how it would handle complex code like that. But yeah, good idea on your part for doing it later. Well, yeah, I mean, the whole reason I decided to do it this way instead of just using like Discord.js was because I wanted to try my hand at implementing this. And so if I had ChatGPT do it, then it would ChatGPT do it, or Claude or somebody like that, then it would take all the fun out of it for me. But I'm sure Claude or ChatGPT would humble me. Jiggle Jess. And Zephyr too, but that's not Linux. No, I do not work on a Linux laptop. I'm a Windows boy. Pratham, continue coding. Yes, I should remain focused, Pratham. For sure. All right. Continue coding we shall. I'm not going to move anything around right now. I think I'm just going to focus on this whole reconnect, resume thing, and then I'll think about taking code out. All right, so let's assume. Going back to my diagram. My sweet diagram. Let's just assume that I disconnect, that I'm the one that initiates the disconnection, right? If I initiate the disconnection, then I know why I disconnected, and therefore I should be able to say I want to resume or I want to connect. Yeah, so right here, I'm disconnecting because I didn't get a heartbeat acknowledged. Yeah, I'm going to disconnect because I didn't get a heartbeat acknowledged, in which case I should be able to resume. Resume async. we should pass in I think here we want to pass in the cancellation token. I'm going to do some wishful programming here for a second. So let's say I do disconnect. And let's say then I do have a method called await reconnect, like that. Let's see. And let's say I do call I don't want to call lock inside lock. So that's wrong. Because I'm already calling lock here. So I don't want to call lock again. Okay, so instead of putting this in a method, shit, I can't make up my mind, can I? I've reached paralysis analysis. Okay, so instead of doing this in a separate method, let's do this. Not normal closure. Policy by no protocol error. And then let's have a WebSocket close. Let's actually keep track of whatever the let's keep track of it. So let's say private WebSocket close status. Let's make it nullable to start with. So here's my idea. This is my idea. I don't know if it's actually a good idea, but my idea is we close it and then we set this to be protocol error like that. Then what we do is we call reconnect, and we'll make a method for reconnect. And reconnect will look at the close status and say if WebSocket Not web. No, we don't want WebSocket state. What we want to look at is we want to look at the close status. We want to say if close status is WebSocket dot normal closure or WebSocket close status You know what? I don't think status is a good I don't think keeping track of the status is a good idea. It's probably more about keeping track of can we resume. So can resume equals true. I think that's what we want to keep track of. Can resume. Did I spell that wrong down below? Yeah, of course I spelled it wrong. Can resume. Like that. I think what we want to do here is we want to say if can resume is false, log information, reconnecting to Discord gateway. And of course, we'll need to do a bunch of cleanup, but the overall idea should be await, connect async, and then we should return. Otherwise, we're going to try to resume. Sorry guys, I missed your chat messages here. Let me. Maple, hello Maple. Placenta Pirate. Now that's a username. How are you doing? I am not coding in C++. I'm coding in C#. Let's see. Tata Zote. My best friend can prepare Discord server. YouTube channel. I want to join you. Oh, if you want to join my Discord channel, you just type !Discord. And you're welcome to join our Discord. Or our Discord server, I guess I should say. All right, so before we reconnect, yeah. So before we reconnect, what should we do? Let's see. Before we connect, we need to dispose of the WebSocket for sure. We need to null out the WebSocket. Should we start? Yeah, we should stop the heartbeat. let's see, reconnect. Let's see, and then what we should do is we should say if. We should cancel it, yep. And then we should also do that for should also do that for the link token, and we should also let's null that. Let's null that. I really don't like writing code like this that's having me I don't like the fact that I'm managing this instance state, but I don't think there's another way to implement this. So we'll null all those out. What else gets set up as part of connecting? We start the heartbeat. I honestly don't think I need to capture references to these tasks. So I'm going to remove them. So I think that's unnecessary. See, do I want to await this? Maybe I do want to await this. Yeah, I think I do want to await this. Don't think I need to do this. See, I for sure don't want to await that. Doing that on purpose. That needs to run in the background. Let's see, which means then down here, I can get rid of all this. I don't need to check this. So we have heartbeat, we have link token, we have the WebSocket, and then the connect once we call back to connect async, we're going to set that all back up. We're going to get the WebSocket. We will start the heartbeat, which will initialize our cancellation tokens, or our cancellation sources, I should say. And I think then we're good. Then we just call connect async and we can move on with our life. And then down here is where we would do the resumption. And I think resuming is similar to connecting, but resuming is very similar to connecting, but you don't identify again. So you basically have to send the resume event. Although I'm not sure. Let's see, if it receives a reconnect event, if it receives a reconnect event, what should happen? The reconnect event is dispatched when a client should reconnect to the gateway and resume their existing session if they have one. This can occur at any point in the gateway connection lifecycle, even before and in place of receiving a hello event. I wonder how you know if you're successful at reconnecting. See you later, Artwork Studios. Have a good night. See you, Jiggle Jess, #1. That's quite a username, ain't it? Ghoul says hairline omegalol. Always people commenting on my my hairline. Jose Aguilar, Invim? It is Invim. Josiah Johnson, what's the language? This is C#. Someone said C#. Nope, no, not C#. I tell you what, if you haven't tried C#, you need to go and try it. I'm kind of a shill for C#, but if you haven't tried it, you should try it. Let's see. Okay, so whenever I connect or resume, I need to start heartbeat. Alright, hold on. I need to start listening for messages. Let's see. I wonder if there's any information. Let's see. Discord, gateway, API. What happens after you resume? I guess I don't know what happens after you resume. Like if I resume, does it send me a hello code? That's my question, I guess. Does Discord send hello opcode after resuming? Okay, interesting. So I really should keep track of the where do I start the let's see, when I start receiving, so I've got events coming in, I'm handling them. Right here. So I should hello. So I won't receive this, but I do need to start the heartbeat. Okay, this makes me want to do this differently now. So using, I don't want to do that. I want to do heartbeat frequency. No, heartbeat interval, I guess is what I should call it. And then I want to go in here. And where's my frequency? Yeah, so instead of doing this, I'm going to do heartbeat interval, but I should probably do some locking around that using wait, acquire my lock. Oh, that's in the scope. That. And I can assign it here. Okay. Let's see, send heartbeat sequence. Send heartbeat. I'm running. I feel myself running out of steam here, so we'll see how much. We'll see how much longer I go here. Let's see. Where do we talk about sending the heartbeats? You need to include the last sequence number your app received in the D field. The sequence number is sent to your app in the event payload in the ask field. If your app hasn't received any events yet, you can just pass null. Okay, so that's another piece of state that I just need to keep track of. So we should say last sequence. God, this is just uglier than sin code. It's just so. It's just not. It's just not good. It's not good. Discord event. This is an integer, nullable integer. So what do we want to do? We want to do private int, yeah, last sequence. And then every time we receive a message, we will say using and we don't care if it's null. It can be null. It's fine. Let's see, handle event. Is that called within a... No, it's not. Okay. So I'm pretty certain we need to do all of this regardless if we can resume or not. That has no bearing. We need to reset these things regardless. Yep, and we need to dispose of the WebSocket. Now, if we can't resume, I think I'm actually going to make this, I'm going to invert this logic right here. I'm going to say logger resuming connection. I'm going to put that here. Now, if we are going to connect, if we can't resume, let's see, logger, yeah, reconnecting. Then we need to do we really need to null these out though? They're just gonna get assigned over. I don't know if we really need to null these out. I don't think that's necessary. I also don't think it's necessary to blank, because whenever we reconnect, we're gonna get a new heartbeat interval. We are gonna get a new last sequence. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Howman, Freemeyer, C#. You should use CSS for the backend. I guess you could try to do that. I don't know how successful that would be. Nikhil said hi. Hello, Nikhil. Jingle Jess, I came back real quick to subscribe to you. I'll be back to look at your project. I'll be checking out your progress. I hope and pray you have a good coding session and a good night, King. Well, Jingle Jess, that's awful kind of you. That's actually a pretty nice message. Mauricio, commit this. Yes, I should commit this. 200 and something lines changed. Yeah, I should have committed a while ago. Kasim, hey. Hello, Kasim. How are you? Kasim, what's this codes for? It's for building a Discord bot. That's what it's ultimately going to be for. Joyal, maybe is how you say that. Joyal. So you think will AI replace humans in coding? I mean, no, I don't think so. I don't think AI is going to replace humans. At least not anytime soon. I think the next 10, 20 years is going to be humans working more closely with LLMs, these generative AI tools, but I don't think it's going to outright replace people. I definitely think it's going to make people more productive, but I don't think it's going to outright replace people, in my opinion. I could be wrong, I could be totally wrong, but that's where my feeling is at the moment. I mean, obviously, I'd love to hear what your feelings are as well. Alright, so this is where we're going to resume. Right here. So what we need to do when we resume is we need to say await, or no, we need to make a new WebSocket is what we need to do. So that's the first thing. Whoops. That's the first thing we need to do. You know what's interesting? I don't need to I don't need to pass the last sequence here anymore, since this is an instance level. Since this is a variable I'm keeping track on the instance, I can just reference it here. I don't need to pass this in. KJ, in coding, we still need the human. Hello, KJ. Also, by the way, good to see you, man. Also, I think I kind of screwed up my camera angle a little bit, didn't I? Let's see. KJ says, in coding, we still need the human validation portion and reviewing code before pushing to production. Yeah, for sure we need. Yeah, for sure we do. Yeah, at the very least. Deadly. I suck at coding and I want to get into cybersecurity. What shall I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about the cybersecurity profession, so I'm not sure where to send you. To me, cybersecurity seems like a specialization of a specialization, or like a specialization that requires a lot of experience and a diversity of experience, in my opinion, right? It seems like people who work in cybersecurity are people who have already been coders or programmers for a while, or people who have been sysadmins for a while, right? So they kind of have a depth or breadth of knowledge in some stuff. And then maybe they've even spent time in both roles, and maybe then they spend a little bit of time in DevOps, and then after they kind of like garner all that experience, they kind of like segue into a cybersecurity role. But yeah, I'm not sure how you would break into that field. And I'm sure like the roles are probably like, I'm sure like a cybersecurity engineer, right, is different than like a cybersecurity analyst. So the maybe different skills and different are required for different roles, but I just don't know enough about it to give you much advice. Nightbot dropped the hammer on Nova there. I'm not even sure what Nova was saying. Something about the Netherlands. But Nightbot did not like your repetition. Alana, this is good, wholesome content. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Or I guess I don't know if you're a man. You could be a woman. But yeah, thanks. I try to make halfway decent content. Deadly. So I'm cooked. No, you're not cooked, man. I wish I could be a software developer, but I suck at it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Deadly. I think if you want to be a software developer, keep working at it, dude. It just takes years and years, lots of reps to be good at anything. Doesn't matter what career you pick. You know, you're not going to be good at it the first 10,000 times you do it, right? Being bad at something is a part of getting good at it. I try to tell that to my kids. If you're new here, you may not know, but I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2. I have 2 sons, and I tell them all the time that, like, if you want to be good at something, you have to be brave enough to suck at it for a long time. You have to be brave enough to fail at it again and again and again and again, and learn from the failures and get better. Nova, I wish I could respond to you, but I don't know any Dutch. So, sorry about that. Deadly, I'm getting a bachelor's of science in business administration, but I'm majoring in technology information systems. I feel like this degree is good, but not good enough to get into the IT field. I don't know. That sounds very much like the exact degrees that you would get to go into the IT field. Or the IT field, I'm sorry. So yeah, I think you can definitely get into the IT field. I mean, obviously, I think anybody who starts off in IT, or I mean any profession, you have to start off at entry level, right? So your probably first entry into an IT career is going to be help desk, and then you kind of go from there. Alana, what made you decide to learn to code? So it was really like, it was a combination of things. The primary one was in 2021, I guess it was actually. In 2021, my oldest son started kindergarten. And it really made me think long and hard about the fact that, like, no matter what happens, my kid is going to, my kid started school in 2021. And the thinking I had was, no matter what happens over the next 6 years, this time is going to pass, right? My kid is going to go through elementary school, and in that time, he is going to learn and to develop so much that at the end of those years, he will be such a much more mature person, such a more capable person. And that kind of motivated me to say, okay, what can I do with those 6 years to make myself better or improve my life? And so I thought, I should try to acquire some sort of skill set that can make me better and potentially have a positive impact on my professional life. And I picked coding. I picked programming. I just basically said, I'm going to dedicate myself to learning programming and learning coding and apply myself every day. And that's what I've done for the last 4 years. And he's in 3rd grade now. Yeah, he's getting ready to be done with 3rd grade. So, basically every day for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, last 4 years, I would say. I've spent anywhere between an hour to 4 hours writing code, learning how to code, doing something related to fingers on the keyboard. But that was the primary driver. Oh, Chitan's here. Hello, Chitan. How are you? Good to see you, man. Ooh, my boyfriend went to coding school. He's since graduated and wants to practice coding to keep it up while continuing to grow. Anything he can do? Every day, man. Just, you gotta do something every day. Fingers on the keyboard, get some reps. I think it's one of those skills. It really is one of those skills. You use it or you lose it. I think most skills are like that. Most knowledge is like that. So my advice would be buy a course, find a tutorial, come up with a project of your own, a problem you have in your own life, and solve it. Spend time on it. That's what I'm doing. I don't. My day job is as a quality engineer, so I do both automated and manual testing, about 50% of each. So I don't spend 40 hours a week writing code, but I want to be great at writing code. I want to be great at building software. And so that means in my free time, I engineer I engineer scenarios like this that force me to practice and force me to try to get better. Alana, that's really sweet. Yeah, I mean, having kids, it changes your outlook on life, man. When you have these other people that you're responsible for, but at the same time, you know that like, my kids have a future, and time is going to pass me by regardless of whether I like it or not. Like my kid's going to be 10, then he's going to be 16, then he's going to be 18, then he's going to be 20. And so it's kind of this reminder of like, the time is going to pass, and you can either do something useful with it or you can do something not useful with it. But either way, you're going to wake up in 20 years and you're going to be 20 years older, or 30 years older, whatever timeline you want to put it on. Yu he does website and stuff like that, I think, for context. Yeah, man, I would just tell him to keep building websites, keep getting fingers on the keyboard. Find work or find projects that push your skills, push your abilities. When you look at something, you think, I don't know if I could do that, or I'm not sure how I would do that. Those are the kind of things that I would think you should try to do. Alana, maybe you can teach him someday. Yeah, I would love for both my boys to learn how to code, even if they don't do it professionally or do it as a hobby. I just think the exercise of like learning how to think about a problem systematically, or take a big problem and break it down into small problems, is just a very valuable way to be able to think, right? So I would definitely like to teach both of them. Joyelle, when did you start coding? I started coding, I guess it was 4 years ago now. I mean, I took computer programming 1 and computer programming 2 in college, my senior year of college, my fall and spring semester as electives. I got my degree in biochemistry, was my major in college, but I took computer programming as electives just for fun, and both those courses were taught in C#. And so that would have been 2015. But then I never really touched it again. Like I never did anything with that knowledge or pursued it further. And then in like 2018, I kind of got the itch to change careers or to find a different job. And so I took a course on Duke's website. That was pretty good. But then I didn't do anything more with it. I took that course and just kind of life, carried on. And then in 2020, I changed careers. In 2020, I changed careers from being a food scientist to working for a tech company. And then my kids started kindergarten like that following spring. Like I started working in August of 2020, and then my kids started school, roughly a year later. And that's when I got really serious about it. That's when I started Free Code Camp's curriculum. And I just, like I said, since like the beginning of 2021 till now, I've spent like every day an hour to 4 hours a day doing something like this. What makes me keep going? What makes me keep going is really just an enjoyment. Like I honestly get a lot of enjoyment out of the activity, right? So like even if even if AI does take over the world, or there's no need for human programmers anymore, you'll still find me writing code manually because I just really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun for me. I get a lot of enjoyment from like thinking about problems, coming up with solutions, struggling through, like kind of like what you see I'm doing tonight, where I'm not really sure about how to go about this, but I'm gonna just kind of think my way through it and struggle through it. It's just fun. So I know that's not maybe the case for everybody, but I guess the answer would be dopamine. Dopamine is what makes me keep coding. Because if I didn't enjoy coding, then I wouldn't be sitting here at 11:33 p.m. writing code, and nobody paying me for it. Alana, I'll let you know. I work in IT for a healthcare organization, and we have people writing code in MS PowerShell just like you are right now. Oh yeah, this is actually C#, but I am using PowerShell as my terminal, and I do know I know PowerShell the language a little bit, not expert level, but yeah, I see a lot of people in the IT field using PowerShell, and I think that's primarily because it's just what's available. Right? Like you don't have to install any extras. So if you're already running stuff if your infrastructure is already running on Windows machines, right? You have a lot of Windows servers or things like that. I think it's very convenient to just write things right in PowerShell. Although I don't find PowerShell particularly enjoyable authoring experience. Like I'd much rather do scripting in JavaScript or Python. But I know a lot of people. The company I work for is a GRC company. So we make a product that we sell into organizations just like yours, to people, even to people in IT, and so yeah, so I'm familiar with the prevalence of PowerShell. I actually have a colleague that does a lot of like client service work, and he always tells me that like I've got to use PowerShell, man. That's the only thing they'll let me use. Yeah, for smaller stuff. Yeah, of course, it's great. Yeah, like the what's available, right? What you have to work with is awesome. Joyal, I have just started coding. Do you have any advice for beginners? Let's see. I think my biggest piece of advice is, it's okay to follow a structured curriculum or structured tutorials when you're starting. It's kind of like learning to cook, right? It's like when you're first learning to cook, it's totally okay to follow a recipe, right? So follow that course or follow that curriculum, sign up for boot.dev or go on freecodecamp.org for free, or follow your favorite YouTube creators' tutorials. But at some point, right, and probably sooner than you think you're ready, you need to stop following that structured curriculum, right? So maybe see it to completion, right? Like for example, with boot.dev, complete their courses, or Free Code Camp, complete their curriculum. But then as soon as you're done, you need to start building your own projects. You need to start solving your own problems. You need to start taking on things that you don't have a clear line of sight on how to accomplish it. That's really what will force you to develop and force you to really own your knowledge, in my opinion. So those would be kind of my big pieces of advice. And obviously you got to do a little bit every day, right? So don't expect to try to learn how to write code and only do it every Saturday for an hour, right? You got to do a little bit every day. Inspire, wait, you don't use Linux? I do not use Linux. I use Linux I do have WSL set up, so if I need to use Linux, I can. I also have several several, I should say. I have 2 VPSs, so if I want to get into a Linux environment, I have the ability to do that. I can do Linuxy things, but I don't use Linux as like a daily driver. I like Windows. I like developing on a Windows machine. I like doing productivity and creation related tasks on a Windows machine, and so it makes it easier just to be able to do all the different things I want to do and not maintain 2 different setups. Carney Mux. Is that Moonfly? You mean the theme? I'm not sure what you mean by Moonfly. Inspire seems fair and Mac. I have a Mac. I have an older MacBook Pro. I think I bought this in like 2018. I think is when I bought this. Maybe earlier than that. But I don't use it that much anymore. The battery on it dies really quickly. I basically have to keep it plugged in to use it. But if I ever need to do anything kind of Mac related, I'll just use that. At some point, I'd like to get an updated Mac machine, but the price of those things are just insane, man. For what you get, you know, you pay like $1,000 for 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of SSD. It's just kind of it's a little crazy to me how pricey things are. Let's see, Carney Mux. Yeah, theme. Oh no, this is One Dark Pro. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's One Dark is the theme. The other one I've used quite a bit is I think a lot of people use this one, Capuchin. This one looks pretty good. But yeah, the one dark is what I'm using. Inspire. The new M4 is quite good. Works smooth for my work. Yeah, I'd love to have an M4. I mean, that's like I would have never considered myself a Windows person. Like I would have always if you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said I'll always have a Mac. But then I had kids. And my wife decided to stay home, and you start having to watch your budget, and all of a sudden when you go to buy a laptop, you think, okay, I've got about $1,000 to spend, on this thing, or $800. I need to kind of minimize my cost, but I want to maximize the value, and dollars just seem to go further in the Windows world than they do in the Mac world. But maybe one of these days when I get one of them big boy jobs, maybe I can buy myself a Mac. I'd really like to have the Mac computer I'd love to have a Mac Mini. I think that'd be perfect for what I do. Inspire. I saved way too much intern money. Yeah, it's a grind. Yeah, it's like you got to decide where you want to spend your money. Let's see, Liam Bannon. That's wild, bro. You just come into the chat and come. That's lame. It's lame, man. Otherwise, how are you doing tonight, Liam? Nice profile picture there, buddy. Let's go to this guy's channel real quick. His shorts are nothing but him ripping a bong. Inspire, exactly. Max Mini is the next go-to. Yeah, I'd love to have one of those. I think that'd be perfect. a perfect way to get back into the Apple ecosystem from a computer perspective, right? You can get in at like $800, you know, get 16 gigs of RAM, maybe 12 gigs of storage, and then I've got plenty of external monitors, right? So I can just plug and play there. All right, where was I here? I was trying to resume. Is what I was trying to do. Also, did I change this theme? I think I picked the wrong theme. There we go. We want one dark. Okay, so we're going to create our WebSocket, and then we're going to create a URI, but we don't want the gateway URL. We want the resume. Yeah, we want the resume. Want that one. Which I think I commented that out. Yeah, so we can uncomment these. Let's see, and then what do I have to do to resume? Resuming. Okay. Let's see. So we'll use the gateway URL to resume. And the sequence number from the last dispatch. Okay, once the new connection is open, your app should send a gateway resume event. The last sequence number will be passed. Okay, so we just need to create a gateway resume event. So we'll say await connect, and then we'll say await send resume async, like that. We don't have a method for that, but we'll create one. And then I think that's it. Oh no, we need to start our heartbeat, don't we? We need to await. Well, I think we need to start receiving messages, and we need to yeah, I mean, we basically need to do everything we did up here. So we need to say Start receiving our messages. I think we also need to start heartbeat. I think we need to do both those things. Inspire, sadly, college debt is real. Oh yeah, man, it is real. I've got 23 grand of it. I still need to pay back. Hello, Suhas. How are you, man? What happened to learning Go? It's still a thing. We just we haven't yeah, it's still a thing. We just haven't prioritized it on stream. Alana, you're not sure if you mentioned earlier that you worked for a tech company, but you look really familiar. We may have worked for the same place. I work for a company called OnSpring. You can actually see if you you can type LinkedIn, and you can get my LinkedIn profile. Suhas, 300 lines is good. Yeah, well, we've been live for over 2 hours, so I don't know if any of the code I've written is good, but we've been trying to make progress. Okay, so we just need to say private async task send. Yep, but we need to define this event. Oh, we don't need to. We don't need to set that. If it's already false, it's okay. We should probably set it though to false, shouldn't we? Alright, I'd really like to have gotten this to a stopping point, but I don't think I'm gonna make it there. Let's see. Resume. Discord events.cs. Gonna say internal sealed record. Resume Discord event. Let's see, we need sequence, session ID, and token. I think that's correct. I think Copilot got that right. Token, session ID, sequence. We are going to inherit from Discord event, which means we need to override or hide these with the new keyword. What are the opcodes? Let's see. Resume is 7, right? Or 6. Yep, 6. Here we go. The yawning's starting. That means it's time. Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't need to hide this one. What I can do is I'll declare a constructor, make it public, resume Discord event, and then you're gonna need to pass me. Yeah, you're gonna need to pass me all that. No, just the opcode. So you're gonna pass me the opcode, this token, session ID, and the sequence, and then I'm gonna set that like that. Which means over here, we need to pass. Oh, actually, I don't need to pass the opcode. Hold on, sorry. I do not need to pass the opcode. The opcode can just be set. Discord opcodes, resume. Gateway client. So we'll say token, session ID, sequence. This is app token. I'm wondering if I'm thinking I should throw an exception here. If the last if I try to send a resume and the sequence is null, I should probably throw an exception. If last sequence is null, then we can't resume. And then we should probably make sure we send the resume. That would be caught here. Okay. I have some errors. Why do I have errors? Make field read only. Oh, yeah, I need to set those. Okay, I'm not going to do that now. I've done enough. So how is bro? Bro is good, man. Life is good. Abhishek Kumar said hi. Hello, Abhishek. Sorry if I butchered your name, man. I try to say people's names correctly, but I'm not always successful at it. Yeah, so I think that's gonna do it for me, guys. I'm gonna call it an evening, and I'll be back at some point tomorrow. So appreciate those of you who hung around with me, made it through the evening. If it's Thursday for you, hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. If it's Friday for you, I hope you have an even better Friday, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, Suas. See you guys. Bye. Excuse me. Oh, actually, I should probably commit this, huh? Feature, implement, resuming, or reconnecting. Or actually, I'm just going to implement reconnecting. Ooh, looky there. 300 something lines changed. I don't know if it was any of it was good, but all right. Bye, guys. Bye.